So yeah, I've had the song Into the Unknown stuck in my head since last night. Anyone else? Anyway, before I get into this review, just know that I have an important announcement to make at the end of the video, so make sure to stay to the end of the video for that. And you might be noticing a different shirt on me as well. That also has something to do with my announcement at the end of the video, but again, I'll get to that later. Right now, let's review the sequel to the animated film that many people consider overrated, but I actually love. The question is that sequel any good? Let's see. Frozen 2. Frozen 2 is the sequel to the 2013 animated film Frozen, which is one of my favorite animated films of the decade. And this one stars Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Josh Gad. They're all returning from the original film. Jonathan Groff, Groff, whatever his name is, he's returning as well. And this one follows Anna, Elsa, Olaf, Kristoff, Sven. You got your main characters back. Basically, what this movie revolves around is Elsa hears a voice in her head, and only she can hear it, and she learns that this voice takes her to an enchanted forest, and then along the way, she wonders where this voice comes from, so she's basically following this voice, and she sets out to figure out the origin of her magical powers. That's kind of what the plot of this movie is. But anyway, let's get into Frozen 2. This movie was very high on my most anticipated films of the year because, unlike most people in this world, like 95% of the people in this world, I love the first Frozen. I thought it was a fantastic animated film. Rightfully deserved its animated film Oscar and all that. It's one of my favorite animated movies of the decade. I loved all the characters. I love Anna, Elsa, Olaf, Kristoff, Sven. I love them all. I love the original film. So I was really looking forward to seeing where this sequel would go. And I saw the trailers, and it looked like it was going to take a much darker turn. So yeah, that's another reason why I was looking forward to it. And I gotta say, this movie, wow, it's an emotional roller coaster ride, to say the least. It is really good, really fun, just awesome. Definitely one of the better animated films I've seen in a while. Much like How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World and Toy Story 4, it packs a lot of emotional punches. First of all, the characters are great in this movie. Like, Kristen Bell playing Anna, I think she fits really well with that role. Josh Gad as Olaf is hilarious once again. He might even be funnier in this movie, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Jonathan Groff as Kristoff, I thought was great again. The standout, of course, though, is Idina Menzel as Elsa. I mean, the first movie felt like it was more about Anna. This movie is definitely Elsa's movie. It's all about Elsa. And she is absolutely amazing. She's easily one of the best characters I've seen in an animated film this year. Just following where she goes and what she's going through, you understand everything that she's going through. Same with Anna and Olaf and Kristoff. You follow all these characters, you understand what they're all going through, and they all get their time to shine as well. And it's fantastic. Olaf, again, he's hilarious in this movie. There's a couple things about him that I'll get to a little bit later, but he's absolutely hilarious. His jokes are hysterical, and he's just really funny. Kristoff and Sven are really funny as well in this movie. I love them both in the first movie. They're back again, and yeah, they were hilarious. And some of the new characters were great as well. Like, you have this Ryder character. He's not in the movie very much, but he was funny. And then all the other characters that they meet up in the Enchanted Forest, I thought was fantastic as well. But I mean, for an animated film, the main thing you gotta talk about is the animation. And oh my god, it is some of the most beautiful animation that I've seen in an animated film in a very long time. Just every little detail, from the snowflakes, like all the facial features, the hair on Anna and Elsa and all the other characters, but especially the water. Like, the water in this movie. It didn't look like animated water. It didn't look like CGI. It looked like real water. and that was just impressive. So yeah, the animation is absolutely spectacular, especially with the ice crystals in the water and all that. And the fire too. Like you see fire, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie to look at. And like I said earlier, all the characters get their time to shine, which leads me into the songs. And I might be in the minority on this take, but I think the songs in this movie are better than the songs in the first film. The first film had a lot more like fun, catchy songs. The songs in this movie are definitely a lot more serious, a lot more emotionally grounded. And yeah, there's a couple catchy songs in this movie, but for the most part, like they're a lot more grounded, a lot more serious, a lot more emotionally, like, just a lot more emotional. You see a lot more emotion in these songs, especially Elsa's two songs, Into the Unknown and Show Yourself. I thought those two songs were fantastic. Anna's got a great song as well. Olaf has a good song. And of course, Kristoff's song was just amazing. Want to know what Kristoff's song reminded me of? It reminded me of like Elton John and REO Speedwagon. It sounded like something that those two bands would play. Elton John and REO Speedwagon. That's what it reminded me of. And it was funny too. It was one of the more lighthearted, catchier songs. And of course, the tone of this movie. It definitely goes for that darker tone, but it's not too dark to the point where it's like too dark for kids. So families can still enjoy it. By the way, there were a lot more adults in my theater than there were kids, so that should tell you something right there. Proves that animation is for adults as well. And Frozen 2 is a great example of an animated film that both kids and adults can enjoy. And of course, the movie's funny. Especially toward the beginning, there's a scene involving charades I thought was absolutely hilarious. And by the way, speaking of toward the beginning, the opening song that like all 5 of the main characters sing at one point, that's probably my favorite song in the movie. Some Things Never Change, I think was the name of it. Something like that. But yeah, that's probably my favorite song in the movie. And the story, yeah, a lot of critics are complaining that it's a little too complex, too convoluted. Honestly, that's kind of why I enjoyed it so much. It wasn't like this simple plot, kind of like Frozen 1 was, even though Frozen 1 was so good. This movie goes for a lot more complex, and honestly, that's kind of why I loved it. I thought it worked. I thought the plot really worked with this movie. There's a few key elements in the third act that I'll get to in a little bit, but other than that, I thought the plot worked really well. And I'm not going to lie, guys, when I say this movie is an emotional roller coaster, oh my gosh, it really packs a punch. Especially toward the end of the second act, I was bawling. And yeah, I was just really bawling. And toward the ending, too, I was tearing up at the ending to this movie. I thought the ending was absolutely fantastic. And it'll be interesting to see where they go if they decide to make a Frozen 3, although I don't know if they should, because I think this movie ended it perfectly. Now, do I think this movie's perfect? Not quite. And there's 2 things that really hold it back for me from giving it that perfect 100 score. One of them is some of the comedic jokes and comedic timing felt a little bit off. Like, there's a joke toward the end of the second act that Olaf makes. I was just like, really? And then in the third act of this movie, it did feel a little bit rushed. Like, especially with the last 20 minutes, there were so many things going on at once. So it did feel a little bit rushed. Whereas the first hour or so of the movie, hour 10, first part of the movie was a little bit slower. So I think the pacing could have been fixed a little bit. But that's really it. In the end, guys, Frozen 2 is an emotional roller coaster ride. I thought it was really good, really fun, like a good story to follow, a little bit more complex, something that adults would be a lot more likely to understand than kids, but that's really why I enjoyed it so much. It's definitely one of my favorite animated films in the year. It's definitely top 3, up there with Toy Story 4 and How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World. I cried a couple times. The songs are fantastic. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. The characters are great. Anna and Elsa are just such good characters, especially Elsa in this movie. Just All the character arcs are fantastic, and it's just the Disney magic is continuing with these animated films. Disney continues their hot streak with animated films, and it's amazing what Disney has done with all these movies, and especially like some of these later movies like Frozen 2, Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Moana, Zootopia, all of these later movies. Like, I'm just really impressed that Disney Animation still has it in 2019, even though the Disney Renaissance took place back in the 90s. So, yeah, I really loved Frozen 2, guys. With that being said, I'm going to give Frozen 2 a 93% certified fresh rating. That is a solid A. Honestly, guys, I couldn't really decide whether to give this an A or bump it up to an A+, so I kind of just put it on that borderline. But either way, this movie is pure Disney magic on screen. It's one of the best animated films of the year, and one of the best films of the year in general. I absolutely loved Frozen 2. So that's my review of Frozen 2. Have you guys seen it? What did you think about it? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below what you thought of it. And before I go, I just want to say thank you guys for supporting me all the way through all these movie reviews. And I want to thank you to the 77 subscribers that have stayed with me even through 2018 when I really wasn't making any videos. But those that stuck with me, like, I'm just thankful for all those guys. And the reason why I'm saying this is because there is a good chance that this review right here, this review for Frozen 2, is the final movie review I ever post on this channel. And there are a few reasons for that. And that's kind of why I'm wearing this Star Wars shirt, because I think this was the shirt I wore in my first ever movie review, of which I think was Underworld Blood Wars back in 2017. So yeah, I wanted to finish it with the OG, and plus it's like 35 degrees outside anyway, so yeah, I wore this shirt for the review. But yeah, there's a few reasons. First of all, I'm going home for Thanksgiving this weekend, so I'm not going to be able to put any movie reviews up until then. But there's something that might happen. I'm not going to get into it, but between Thanksgiving and Christmas, well, first of all, I'm going to Disneyland like December 18th through December 20th. So, like, from that point up until January, I'm going to be in California, and I never film at home because I want to respect my family's space. I don't really want them to know that I film there, or yeah, so I just don't film there, if that makes any sense. But yeah, basically the time between December 1st and December 18th, there's something that could be happening that where I might not be able to review too many movies. And even then, there's really only one movie on my radar that's coming out in that time, and that's Jumanji. Now you might be wondering, what about Star Wars? I mean, you're such a big Star Wars fan. And yes, there will be a chance that I will review all the Star Wars films. But if I do, they're probably going to be all spoiler-filled reviews. I don't know if I'm going to do a spoiler-free review of Rise of Skywalker because, again, I'm going to be in California for Christmas, and I honestly don't even know when I'm going to be seeing Rise of Skywalker, but yeah, I'm going to be in California before I get a chance to see it. So I'm going to be seeing it late, and by the time I get back here in January, I'm just, like, it's going to be so late at that point. Everyone's going to be coming out with their top 10 lists. And don't worry, I'll still have my top 10 lists on this channel. But, like, it's going to be so late. Everyone's going to know the spoilers. So, I mean, if I do review Rise of Skywalker, it'll probably be spoiler-filled because it'll be a couple weeks later. But, yeah, other than that, I don't think I'm going to be reviewing any more 2019 films on this channel, or really any movie in general. And if you're wondering why I'm not doing movie reviews anymore, I did explain it in a different video. I'll post a link to that video in the description below for anyone who hasn't seen it. It basically discusses the future of videos on this channel, like particularly movie reviews, and explaining why I'm not going to be doing them anymore. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, guys. That was just an announcement I had to make. And again, thank you to all the people who have supported me throughout the years that I've been on this channel, that I've been on YouTube. And plus, it doesn't help that YouTube's doing their little COPPA BS. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah. I just want to say thank you guys to all of those who followed me. But anyway, if you guys have seen Frozen 2, what did you think about it? And where would you rank it among all the later Disney animated films? Basically anything from like Princess and the Frog, Bolt, Tangled, like all of those onward up till now with Frozen 2. How would you rank them? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And what's your favorite? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to smash that thumbs up button, give a like on this video to show your support, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm still going to be making videos, it just might not be movie reviews. So subscribe to my channel for more videos to come in the future, particularly in January. And until the next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar, and always remember, stay California cool. Peace.